And let's begin with a quick invocation and a pledge of allegiance. If you would, please bow your heads. Our Heavenly Father, we come before you with a humble spirit. We ask that you make us aware. You make us aware of the many blessings that we have every day, from the first breath we take until the last breath of the day. You fill our days with blessings we don't always acknowledge, Lord. We thank you. Give us peace and tranquility today. In your Son's name we pray. Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texan flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. Welcome. All right. Do we have anyone from the public? All right. Item 4. Mike, do we have any adjustments? Very good. All right. Item number 5 through 9. Does anyone have anything to change or discuss? Okay, I need a motion to accept the consent agenda, items 5 through 9.
I'll make a move.
Okay,
Second.
okay. Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, opposed? Okay, that passes. Item 10. Consider and act upon a resolution casting the district's vote in the Montgomery County Central Appraisal District Board of Directors election. All right, does everyone understand this?
This is the third and final step of the process. You've gone through the first couple steps already. Arthur Bradenhoff was the nominated participant, and so motion would be to place your votes to Arthur. If you place them for someone else, they go to Arthur anyway.
Okay,
You are voting for the special district nominee, which is Arthur.
okay, and Mud 46 gets 25 votes out of a total of 5,000. That is 1/2 of 1%. So even if we didn't. Yeah,
What is the number?
it's 5,000.
It is 5,000.
It's on page 20. All right, I need a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Okay, and I'll second it. All those, is there a discussion? Arthur's a good candidate. He does everything. He, like us, needs to get a life, and he is in the Metro Mud. He's also in the DSC, and I'm sure he's on a few other things like the library board and such like that. So all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? All right, that's approved. Item 11.
Sure that I'll carry him over the finish line.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Item 11, have there been any changes since last month?
There has not. The RNS 12 and 13 are the policy document that specify or make it official on the water and sewer rates that you adopted last month.
Okay, and
No
those
changes have been made since then.
those new policies are written on page 21 through 24, if you want to look those over. All right. Again, I need a motion.
What is the motion?
The motion is to accept the updated RNS policy 12 and 13. These are just the rates for both the water and the sewer.
Okay, I'll make the motion.
All right.
I'll second.
Okay, is there a discussion? All right.
Second.
Okay, very good. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, and no oppositions, so we'll accept that as well. Going good. Item 12, we get to discuss matters with the director elections to be held in May 4th on 2024.
Yep, believe it or not, we're already getting back to election time again. George and Deidre, 2 positions that are up this cycle. the first step in the 2024 election process is to authorize the filing of the notice of the candidate filing period. That is filed at your administrative office here at Woodlands Water, also at on your website and in the boundary of the district. The filing period is from mid-January until mid-February. So we're talking about the candidate filing period for the upcoming director election. Your position is one of the two that are up. So we'll have, we should have the packets available to be picked up at the January meeting. Share yourself at those for y'all to pick up. If we don't have more candidates filed, then we have positions, then we'll be able to consider canceling the election at the March board meeting. If we have more candidates filed than we have positions, then we will hold the election jointly with Montgomery County as we did last time. I don't anticipate the districts holding the elections individually at Woodlands Water again in the future, just because of all the legal requirements that have been added over the years to by the legislature to the election. So if we have a test election, it'll be conducted by Montgomery County. At this point, though, we just need a motion to authorize posting of the notice of the filing period. Motion. Sure. Okay, I'll go with that.
Okay, I'll second it. Okay, is there a discussion on the election here?
Only two people are running here, right?
Well,
If they wish to run, yeah.
we may have someone from outside
Okay.
who runs against them. If not, then we don't need to have an election. And when is the deadline to file?
Deadline to file is mid-February. I
Okay.
don't have the exact date in front of me, but it's it'll be on the form itself.
Okay, and
Posted on the website.
do George and Deidre need to file?
Yes.
Are they automatically?
No.
Okay,
So they will have the application packets should be available at the January meeting for them to pick up. So they can pick them up at the board meeting and then bring them back separately or make some other arrangements to get them back to water before that.
and if no one files against them,
Then
then do we cancel the election?
in March, yes.
Okay, if we have an election, does that come out of the MUD 46 budget or
Yes.
or the Woodlands Water budget?
It comes out of the MUD budget because it is a separate district expense. And I think we may have talked about the last cycle, those elections are not getting any cheaper. They're, I think the last cycle was around 25 grand.
Hmm.
That's what's cheap. Yeah, it is.
Cheaper to do it ourselves.
Well, nah, not with all the additional requirements and voting machines and election workers.
Okay. All right.
Brian, you said that it would be posted in the district.
Correct.
Where does it get posted?
I don't know offhand what our, Mike, you know what our in-district posting location is, as well as we post our agendas. 46. Yeah. Most people will get it off the website, because we
Right,
put it on the
right.
website as well, but it will be posted in the district also.
I was just wondering how you did that with district being split up in 3 places.
It just has to be one location in the district that's designated. It doesn't have to be in each of the.
Okay.
Typically, who would post it? Where would you post this? As an example, other than here.
Well,
So
it just depends. It depends on the district. Where, you know, it could be at a park. You know, it could be at a district facility. You know, I'm just telling you from experience from other MUDs, not necessarily.
Like, for instance, your agendas are here,
Right.
the website, in the district at the specific location that she has, and then the courthouse also. So it's every month, the agendas, yeah.
I just never thought we posted anything in the district in 46 or 47. or-
Number 10.
What's that?
Lift station number 10.
What is it?
Lift station number
Lift
10.
station number 10.
Oh,
For all, well, high school kids go.
That's right, yeah. That's
Did you want to have discussion?
No, I'm okay. I mean, I think everybody gets it off the website, but I was curious where the lift station number 10, I don't know where that is. but-
Sawmill.
What's that?
Sawmill, I think it was.
It's on High Oaks. Dead end of Soaring High Oaks.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Probably, it was probably determined early on.
Oh, yeah.
Because that was the original portion of 46 before it was expanded. I speculate, you
So
said,
it's down here somewhere?
yeah,
No. Oh, back
probably
there?
because that's where the district started.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's interesting. Learn something new every day.
All right, all those in favor of posting the election
Aye.
Aye.
stuff, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, opposed? All right, the item passes. Item 13.
Monthly reports in your packet, fairly routine month. A couple of things to point out is the next all mud director meeting held at the Sawdust location is December 4th from 5 to 7. You can attend, please. On page 32, there's a one pager here. We've been participating in a COVID virus scan at our wastewater stream. We were approached by Stanford University, some other independent labs. Participate in this program. It doesn't cost them much anything. We're the River Authority. They're actually paying us to take some samples and send them in. They're working on their methods for identifying these different types of illnesses in the wastewater stream. There's a website down here you can go to. It'll pull up a map of the United States. We're easy to find where the all participants in Southeast Texas are doing it right now. A lot of good information. Yeah, if you're interested in that type of thing, or any of your constituents, ask the question on, is there COVID in the wastewater? They got monkeypox, flu, all kinds of things are starting to expand. But it's some good information if you're just curious. And number 3, and as of today, the River Authority announced that they have secured the new GM, Aubrey Spear from Lubbock. Will be starting sometime in January.
Audrey, A.
Aubrey. Let me see, I've got
ABREY.
A-B.
AUBRUY.
RUY?
RUY. I'm sorry, REY Spear.
If you're signed up for a River Authority.
Yeah.
They send out order today.
Okay.
Pop right up.
Pop right up. Okay, love it.
Did you have any questions for me? I can answer them or could you answer?
Is there anything that, with this study of the pathogens in the wastewater, that is wastewater, correct?
Yes, sir. This is
Okay.
the wastewater stream.
Is there anything that you have to do in return for them getting this data?
No,
Okay,
no, we pull the samples when we pull our routine samples every day. We just pull a couple more.
okay,
They pay for the shipping and handling of everything, and they also being invoiced at the end of the month, show you how many samples we pull and ship to them. And that's easy as that.
And Tom, they have a website.
yeah, I'm very aware of the website. In fact, they've been doing this for a while. They do more than just what Chris has on here. They have viruses for pepper plants. They have viruses for bovine coronavirus. And this is nothing that you should be concerned about. This just, I kind of scratch my head wondering why you do that in an area that has 5 hospitals. Because any person in the hospital who's sick is contaminating the wastewater. And so it's a volume thing. If a guy Chris's size has corona and he throws up in the toilet, it's going to be a whole lot different than, say, if my wife had it.
Starting to get personal there, Tom.
Well, I'm just saying that my wife is half the size of Chris. Yeah, so
The hospitals go where?
But matter of fact, we have one hospital that is wastewater treatment plant number 3.
Okay,
So that's St. Luke's Hospital and Texas
Okay.
Children's.
where do the other 2 go to? Or the other
Another
4?
2 out of district.
Out of district,
Yes,
okay.
Shenandoah, and the other one, I believe, Shenandoah and Conroe. Methodist is Conroe, and
so we only get 2 hospitals.
They don't go
Yeah.
to wastewater one.
And this Candida auris, that's a fungus. The rest of these are viruses, and they also do bacteria as well. So,
they do a lot of things.
so I haven't seen any of the reports from any of these or any studies from this, but I'm sure they'll draw some kind of conclusion that I'll scratch my head against too. So, I was gonna say, Chris, the next time, can you change the ink color to, instead of yellow on page 25? Yellow is a bad color for that graph.
New graph. Yeah, the yellow didn't,
I do like the fact that you're putting in the budgeted groundwater ratio.
yeah, we'll play with the colors to see what.
Okay.
What's better. Definitely.
Other than that, it's a real good report.
So I had a question on that same page.
Yes,
You're showing 56% groundwater for the last month or year to date,
for year to date.
which would be basically October.
Yes, sir. October, yes.
So
September and October, 2 months,
September's last year
September is the beginning of the new fiscal year.
For
for
them,
you. Okay, I got you. So you're 56% groundwater.
Mhm.
You're over budget. Do you ever go the other way? 56%
Yeah, we-
surface water to bring it back?
And keep in mind, if, yeah, that's what this yellow line is, the
I understand,
budget. So yeah, so it will
You're-
fluctuate.
but I've never seen y'all operate the other way.
It's been there, but yeah, because this is a 50% overall annual average. It's not 50% monthly average.
Right.
So yeah, so you'll see fluctuations, give or take 5-6%, just because of the ladder logic of the SCADA system. But yeah, at the end of the year, it's a 50% average is what you're shooting for.
And your first month of this period is with the drought.
Yes.
So you using more ground.
Yeah, and of course, with the drought, we can only get so much surface water delivered, so there's a lot more groundwater making up for the demand. So you can see in this last month with the rain, we were almost around 50-50. So yeah, it will fluctuate month to month.
Okay.
I have a couple of questions. So this page 26. Hi, Jason. It's really good to see you here instead of Chris. It says South Milburn and Timberwild. This is that, is it on here for infrastructure maintenance of the leak?
What page was that again?
26.
Yes, you're saying under the water loss?
Yeah, so the
Yeah.
water loss, we've got a water loss at South Milburn and Timberwild. And I noticed that you put the leak of Northway and 242 as a leak
Mhm.
and maintenance. But I don't see the South Milburn and Timberwild. Are they supposed to be like if it's on here as a leak and a break, it's on here as infrastructure maintenance because you fixed it?
Yeah, so on this page, it's water loss. And then
Yeah.
we have another page here on page 27 as infrastructure maintenance. I just noticed that the monthly account of water loss wasn't updated for October,
Okay,
so I apologize.
okay.
Can that be sent out to us between now and the next meeting?
I will definitely bring it up. I'll let Chris know that this needs to be updated. We'll try to get it out to Eric.
So the South Milburn and Timberwild is not part of the infrastructure maintenance because you did show the
It
242.
is now. It was on this last month. It was on this list and it was completed. So it was removed, and then these are the newest. This was October's leaks that we have
Oh,
that were completed.
so this water loss is September. These were September breaks?
Yes, ma'am. So they had the dates over here. Then it wasn't updated to October.
Okay,
Oh,
okay, that's
apologies.
good. Okay. And that was a PVC line on Northway, and then a contractor damaged a 12-inch AC line.
The South Mill Bend and Timberwild.
South Panther Creek and Rain.
Oh, yes. A contractor hit that. A boring contractor hit one of the collars off of the AC line.
Okay,
And
No.
that's not on here?
It's on the infrastructure on page 27.
27.
Second one down.
So you're saying the South Milburn and Timberwild is an AC line,
It was an AC.
It was an AC
16
line,
inches.
okay. 12-inch,
16.
16-inch, okay.
And 242 is PVC.
And part of the AC evaluation and stuff, like you're tracking that, right? Like,
Yes, ma'am. And we
Okay.
also, we removed that PVC line. It's ready for, when we do get a lab on board, we're gonna have that pipe available to them.
You said PVC,
The 242 leak was PVC.
but
South Milburn's AC, that's the
Right.
one
yeah, he said PVC.
for the Northway. He was talking about both.
The 242 and North Lake was PVC. Panther Creek and South Mill Bend, those were both AC.
And then that kind of brings me to your, page 37, where it's the key performance indicators from AWWA. And, does this correspond, your sheet of, infrastructure maintenance and preventative maintenance? Like, how do you come up with it? Like, we're doing 50%, that's our goal.
Corrective maintenance versus their preventive maintenance.
Well, like your goal is preventative maintenance of 50%. How are you generating these percentages every month?
So all that's coming out of EAM, our work order system.
Okay.
So it's a percentage of work orders that are corrective maintenance versus preventative maintenance. That's how I'm generating that.
So this represents, so you have corrective maintenance
Yes.
and you have preventive maintenance. So this number is the combination of those two? Or was it just preventive maintenance? Is this,
The preventative maintenance,
The
so for the month, it was
it's 53.
53% for the month. The FY to date was 55. Our goal is 50%.
So,
So
so it's not a, it's just a matter of, this is all the work orders we did this month. This percentage was preventative versus this prevent.
yes,
So what does that tell me? Like, what would that, like, what does that tell you? Like, why would you need to know that? Like, why would you say?
so corrective maintenance is usually reactive.
Yeah,
Preventative maintenance is preventative. So you want to have ideally more preventative maintenance than corrective maintenance because you're having less failures.
so wouldn't you want your goal to more align with the median of AWWA or above that, like for your goal?
It's something to work towards. I
Okay.
think these are reevaluated every year.
Okay.
And the PMs aren't, they're getting a little better. Yeah, we're trying to get away from having more corrective than preventative.
Okay, I just want to make sure, like, if we're tracking something and it means something, like, what's the reason behind it? And are we evaluating it? Is it necessary? Like, what is it telling us, or is it just a number?
Yes, ma'am. No, yeah.
Yeah.
It's telling you at the end of the day, if we're spending more time on PM, then that means our equipment's, it's not down. We're not losing, that asset time. So it does give you some standard of, I guess, quality of work. Have more PMs.
Because I know we've added and added and added to this
Yeah.
report.
So a preventive maintenance work order that
Yes.
is not accomplished, what happens to that scheduled maintenance activity? Is it,
If for whatever reason it's not done within the due date, I guess, so to speak,
like, would you reschedule it for a future due date or?
it's rescheduled as soon as possible. Just, if for whatever reason, if we didn't get to that because of corrective maintenance takes priority.
Yes.
Then, but yeah,
If it doesn't make this month, it makes the next month.
it'll make the, yes.
And you have yearly PMs, monthly,
Yeah,
monthly.
Quarterly, yeah, yes, yeah, monthly, quarterly, biannually, annually. So yeah, there's a lot of PM every month. There's a stack that shoots out automatically.
Well, your number of work orders versus preventative is 348. And your number of corrective is 74. Page 27.
Page 27.
Yeah. So that should in theory correspond to your, like, I should see numbers that are 50-50.
Yeah, no, I agree.
So I mean, maybe you're not
Preventative PM work.
maybe you're not giving yourself credit for the preventative maintenance that you're doing.
228. Let me
Okay.
bring that up to them. Just see what.
Good point.
Yeah,
Good catch.
she got you there.
I'm not trying to get anybody.
Well, it's good news
Yeah.
if
Look,
it's correct.
No one thought, but
Yeah,
but Deidre,
Get
yeah.
the credit for it if that's what the numbers are.
Well, if you look at that table, when it says number of work orders, that's issued or completed.
Those would be completed because you have hours spent.
Okay.
So you have your total hours.
So we can assume that there were 700 work orders that were spit out of the system.
Well, 700 work orders that were performed. Completed.
Where do you get 700?
Well, I'm just saying that they're at 50-some%, so just level the.
Well, I would have thought it should
Be a
be
bit-
74
Yeah,
over
You
348.
add these two up, that's a guaranteed number that we
No,
got.
no, but they're saying, what's that other table like that? When you talk about the number complete, it was like 58%, so just, that means beginning
I didn't
number is
see
much 700 or 600 or something like that. I'm just talking about PMs.
Yes,
Yeah, PMs. That's a lot of rescheduling.
yes, I mean, yeah, but I'll check into this to find out why it is what it is.
How will we be notified of your findings?
Everything will be sent to Eric and then he'll distribute it.
Good, good, okay.
All right, any other questions?
Yes. If you could take a look at page 28, it shows a income variance in excess of $1 million. That's for the 2 months ending. Okay, if you take a look at year to date, where does the SGRA for the Woodlands Division stand in its income versus budget? That's the first question. The second question would be, I understand, but it hasn't been verified, that there's a surplus of money that has been either recovered through the litigation or has been settled through the litigation, and that's sitting in call it an account somewhere in SGRA. Is that an accurate statement?
I'd say that there has been some funds recovered, or you're talking GRP.
Correct.
Yes.
Yes. And I was, again, rumor has it, it's approximately $20 million.
I don't know the exact.
Okay. But are we running a surplus? In other words, a revenue increase over budget this year for the Woodlands Division? And if so, what is that approximately? That's just for the 2 months. I want to know year to date.
We're in the year today, 2 months. It just started September
Fiscal.
fiscal.
I stand corrected then. Well, the previous year that's been carried over.
There.
Oh, okay, you're.
There we go. That's the $20 million.
Well, that's GRP.
That's GRP.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
So yeah, no, I know senior management has that in their court right now with the GRP funds. The overages from last FY, that's being done right now. All the finances are being put together and finalized, and that'll come back to the MUDs at the beginning of the new year.
Come back to the MUDs in the form of an action request or a
Yes, yeah,
form?
they'll come back and let you know what the overages were, what the surplus was, and either, and kind of come back to y'all with, here's some options of what we can do with the funds, or do you want it back?
Got it. Good. And that'll be done in January, you say, or February?
I think usually that happens February to March.
Okay, February, March.
So, but all the excess funds are really in GRP. So the funds from the legal expenses rest there. The last year's drought funds, the rest there, this year's drought funds, it's all collected in GRP, not in the Woodlands Division.
Well, there were, of course, some excess pump bench fees that the Woodlands Division received because you couldn't get enough surface water. So that will show up in the Woodlands Division budget. And pumping more, selling more wholesale water, that will show up in the,
So it'll show up in the Woodlands Division budget.
which is what Fred is out.
Right, exactly.
I thought that the pumping, the pumps, the groundwater pumpage went to GRP at that 299 and the.
Yeah, so there are, the River Authority will get through the GRP division, they'll have whatever revenue they get from surface water sales, but of course they're capped on that. But then for all the producers, the 88 or however many participants there are, they do charge GRP fees for water that's pumped out of the ground. So there should be, you're right, there should be excess revenue from the GRP component of the overall GRP division fees that they should receive over and above what was budgeted because of the drought, yes. But there's also going to be groundwater fees, excess revenue to the Woodlands division for what was pumped
Of the mutts.
from the buds, correct?
So they have a
That's what I'm
component they
referring to.
charge.
Yeah, that's
Exactly.
But they have, so what you're saying that there's a markup from the 299 to what Woodlands, and that's that markup. When you generate more, you meet, but you exceed budget, and that ends up in the
It's
Woodlands
two separate fees.
two
Two separate, so there's a surface water conversion
fee,
fee
which is
that
299.
which within
Right.
that is the GRP fee. So the whole Woodlands division is one of the 80-something
Right, right.
participants. So that portion of the surface water conversion fee that's attributable to groundwater, to the extent that the river authority gets more than what they budgeted for, that will show up in the GRP division's numbers, along with the other 80-something participants that are pumping groundwater. That revenue goes to GRP. But the separate, just wholesale rates for water that are charged from the Woodlands division to the MUDs, the additional
So the,
units of water
Right.
that were sold.
so the wholesale rates above budget,
Correct,
that excess would fall
in the Woodlands division, which is where Fred is.
Making sure the money's there.
So Mr. Letterman, do I owe you anything or were you satisfied with that?
I am totally satisfied. If it's going to be presented in the February, March time period, I'm cool with that.
Okay.
Good, thank you. I won't forget it.
Fred, I'm interested to see that big lump sum that was rebated to the SJRA, is it 20 million, 21 million? How much was returned to the SJRA?
Well, what I'd like
That's gonna be in that.
is a line item accountability is what I would like. I'd like to know where all of the details of that revenue stream, of that income stream came from. And what the costs were that were associated that we previous to my term, were incurred. And I think we need to take a look at parity for each of the MUDs to see what the distribution should be. So we need the detail. And I just want to at least get it on everyone's radar screen. It's kind of important. It seems to be an awful lot of money. And I think we need to run that dog down and then figure out how do we distribute it, or if we distribute it. And that's probably a reason to have probably a longer meeting or an all MUD meeting. I'll leave that to Eric to make that call, but I think it's important that we understand all of the dynamics of what goes into the money pot and how we plan to distribute it, and that we can account for it to our constituents. Here were the costs, here's what you paid in whatever fees over the past years. Here's what the income is, here's what our share is, and here's the distribution plan, which it just makes sense because we have to defend it.
Good.
Any thoughts on that?
Those comments are related to the GRP.
Yes, that is 100% correct, to the GRP solely.
As you can see, that is part of their capper, their financials that they should be prepared now. If their books closed out into September, then January, February, should be receiving the draft financials.
Great, thank you.
Any other discussion? All right. Good brief, thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Y'all's financials, all of it's not in September, ours is.
Yeah, end of August, and then
Yeah.
of course the books are open. See,
Yeah.
everything's good. Yeah.
All right, do we have an update on the Bear Branch, Panther Branch projects?
No update this month.
Okay, no discussion on item 14. Brian, do you have anything?
No general items under the attorney.
Okay,
I have a question for you. Will you be addressing the set of 2 documents that were distributed by Shelley? You will, this meeting?
Yes.
Okay. Before we do that, I have some questions. Is there,
It's about that.
it's not about that. General questions. Aside from this situation, is there any other litigation pending that affects either the WWA or MUD 46 that you're aware of?
Well, I think we'll probably have that discussion about anything litigation related to closed session.
Okay. Then another question. We have DNO insurance as directors and officers, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Do you recall what the indemnification or the coverage is per director?
I'm not involved in that. No, that is handled by staff, but I know that they do retain that. I don't know if it's on a yearly basis or.
I'll do it.
Can we get some more information on that?
Sure.
Just, I'll tell you about it right away.
But for now, we'll wait for the adjourning to private session. Go from there.
All right, item 16. The SWAT report. I think last time, Eric mentioned that they do it in-house on a monthly basis. Is that correct, Eric?
No, this was brought up by Fred 2 months ago. It wasn't on the agenda, so it was put on the agenda to bring up this month. There's been no authorization. I mean, we monitor our risks every month, every day, just as a matter of business. But this was, my understanding was a request to specifically do an actual SWOT analysis and get it documented. So it's on the agenda.
Is that something that you do in-house with staff?
If you want us to do.
I don't necessarily want to see it. I think Fred just wanted to know if you were doing it. Is
I
that
want to
correct?
hear what Fred says.
I just brought up the fact that it's something that, in my opinion, and solely my opinion, it's something that all organizations should do. If for no other reason, whether it's annually, monthly, quarterly, that's irrelevant. That
Yeah.
depends on the size of the organization and the complexities, plus the opportunities and issues that it faces.
Mhm.
And my question basically was, have we done it? Do we know what all of the threats, what the strengths are, what the weaknesses are, and have we taken steps to have a plan B in the event the worst case happens? Or are there opportunities for revenue that we've missed? So it all kind of feeds together with looking at a strategic plan. And I'm sure that Eric's looking at strategic plans, and we're going to have a new we have a new general manager for the SGRA. I'm sure that he's going to be doing the same thing. So the question is that something that should be shared with the MUDs? And should the MUDs have input into that? And my personal belief is yes. And that's where it is. And, you know, Eric is, after the last time that I brought it up, he said it was something that he would look into and talk to his staff about. And it's in his hands.
But we have not been authorized to proceed on that, to build any specific SWAT. So if you want us to
Who would
do,
authorize that?
a district would have to. It's not normal business to do this in this world.
That was my
We certainly-
understanding.
We certainly can.
that they do it on a regular basis, but if you want it shared.
No, he said he's not going to do it.
No, no,
It's
no.
authorized.
I don't have a specific SWAT report that we've done.
Right.
So if you want us to go to that level, then you would need to authorize us. to
Let me
do
ask the
that.
question backwards. Do you believe, as a general manager for the Woodlands Water Agency, that we need to have a SWOT analysis done for all of the MUDs?
No.
Okay, there's the answer. Okay,
Well, are you comfortable that's the right answer?
no,
Okay.
but
But I'm happy to. go
he's
through that.
he's running the organization, and I have no problem with it. Now, if we miss opportunities or if we miss threats, then yeah, I think that we have an obligation to understand why there was a reluctance to do something like this. Let's say on an annual basis, as part of a normal strategic planning prospect. I'm not demanding it. I think it's something that it should be done. I think it's part of good stewardship and good management, but I'm not managing the WWA.
Well, my understanding is you do it,
I
correct?
just don't have a specific.
You just don't share your report with the boards.
I'm happy to memorialize it into something that is.
I don't need to put any more work on you. If you think it's something worth doing, do it. If you don't, I respect that.
Okay.
Okay.
So,
But he said he's not authorized. If we want it, we can authorize him to do that.
And happy to.
Yeah.
Happy to.
I don't think it's a bad thing.
oh, of course not. I agree. It's not a bad thing. It's a good
I
thing.
agree. It's not a bad thing. It's just, you know,
I mean, maybe we we have a very long deadline and it's something that's continually discussed. And just because people haven't done it doesn't mean they shouldn't do it.
I'm 100% with you.
Yeah.
That's why I said, I'm not running the WWE. I have to defer to Eric for that, and I'm doing that.
But if
Well,
that's
now, wait a
it,
minute. We have a representative on the trustees board. And the board of trustees would authorize Eric to do it.
It's a great thought. Why don't you bring it up at the trustee meeting and see if they have any desire to do it?
Are we talking about a swap for WWA? We talking about SJ?
No, it's a WWA.
Put it in the agenda and discuss it next trustee meeting in December, so
Okay,
happy to.
all right.
I'm not, we'll get consensus across all of the MUDs, which is
Right.
probably the best way to go than starting it here at 46.
Yeah, and I'm not against it all, by any means.
I don't
I've
sense
done-
you are.
I've done a number of them over the years in private practice. So, on different, scenarios. So happy to do something like that here to formalize a SWAT, to formalize the SWOTs. Happy to do that. We'll put it on the
Okay.
trustee agenda.
All right. Good discussion. All right, item 17. Discuss potential revisions to policy RNS 14.
So that's, I'll just say that's in motion right now. That is, to refresh everybody's memory, RNS 14 is the policy that we follow to evaluate the refunds. When someone overuses, and you've seen, Mike will present certain large potential refunds that you will approve. And so there's a policy in place. And so you had asked, and there's a couple other ones that are starting to because as soon as you only see the big ones, there's
Right.
smaller ones and there's quite a few. And so what I had suggested, and then it was brought up, is that let's just see what that policy is, because I was starting to recognize that the faces on board members when you're faced with an approval of a proposed refund, that it's not $1,000 or whatever. We now have technology, and the reason why I feel like it's times are changing is with the AMI meters, we have the technology to identify what the flows were, before the break or before you went on vacation or whatever the case may be. And so I feel like that's a good enough reason to relook at the policy. So that's what we're doing.
Well,
Yeah.
Shelley sent it out to all of us, and I thought it was fine.
Well, that's the existing.
Oh,
That's the existing.
now what changes are you looking to make?
Maybe thresholds, and the ways that we look at how the overage is assessed, because it doesn't talk anything about utilizing the smart water smart technology that we have. It just says if it gets up to this amount, we'll bring it to the board. If not, as long as they can prove certain things, then they'll be approved.
What's the percent of utilization of the Water Smart program?
35%.
Yeah.
Registration.
Mhm.
Utilization.
Yeah, 34,000, so we're just under 35%.
So is it worth mandating it, making it a requirement?
Well, we are, funny you asked that, we're working internally to find ways to, basically, the direction we're heading is on our application fee or application form. We're looking at an opt-out scenario where when you apply for service, you give us your email address and you're signed up for Water Smart and potentially the weekly Woodlands Water Weekly. And then you could choose to opt out if you so choose. We can't force anyone to choose it. But I would also say that once we switch the billing software over middle of next year, right now we have two interfaces. We have Water Smart, and then you pay your bill through Encode or through the other interface, and it will all become one at that point. And so you'll already be on Water Smart theoretically to pay your bill. So I think we're going to get.
But there may not be any way to contact the customer unless they put in their phone number or their email address.
Yeah, Yeah, we've got those, but whether or not they sign up for the newsletter or sign up for those things, they don't have to do that. And we don't force them to do that at this point. But we're trying to strongly encourage folks by giving them the reasons why it would be beneficial for them to do that. I'm out in the public talking about it. We're hitting it with all of our public education outreach just to try to get folks to understand that, you know, WaterSmart is a great tool
Yeah.
that they can sign up for. The Woodlands Water Weekly has some great information on it. And then obviously we're doing some new work on our website. So we're trying to get more people.
Yeah, what a consideration. As an inducement for customers to sign up for WaterSmart. If they don't, they can't complain about a bill. They can't file for a reprieve of any kind.
Well, and that was kind of the reason why we really would like to also look at changing for RS-14.
Sure.
Because if you're not gonna, as the customer, if you're not going to be managing your account and then you have a big outage and you had that tool that you could have used, you know, that's one of the things that we do is if we have one of these requests for refund, well, you're now signed up for WaterSmart because you could have prevented this by setting it up appropriately. So that was another incentive to try to get people.
Great idea.
Yeah, I asked for this last month. And if you look at those pages, this policy, if you look on page 46, under D, the fifth line up from first paragraph, it says, other circumstances which indicate that the customer through the exercise of ordinary care and diligence could not have avoided such an event or accident. Basically, it's ordinary care. This is ordinary due diligence. And we have a lot of customers who are not showing sufficient due diligence. We give them the tools through the EMI, and we need to just change this policy. And it's as simple as one paragraph that says ordinary care and due diligence means being signed up for WaterSmart.
And we're currently rewriting it internally. We're identifying how the past refund requests have come in, kind of evaluating certain scenarios.
Right.
You know, so we're doing all that right now. And it wouldn't be for 46. I would propose that this would be for
all of Woodlands Water, and they do the policy change. We just look it over and approve it. And
So what percentage of the rate request refunds you get are signed up for WaterSmart? What ballpark, you know, is it 30%, 10%? You know?
Well, if it's 35% utilization, yeah, you're talking, pick a number between 0 and maybe 10%.
The ones that signed up, some have a wrong email address, they don't monitor anymore, so the email goes to them,
But
but
they don't.
they don't get it.
yeah,
So I wanted to give you feedback on a leak we had. I got the alert and it, you know, was 800 gallons a day or something. So I
That's
was
for you at your house?
right.
Okay.
Flapper valve on one of the toilets had come off.
Mhm.
And so, you know, the toilet's running full force all day. So I was away from the house. I got on my iPhone and sure enough, it shows it. And I tried to go down to a lower level of detail to see when it started. And best I can tell, the iPhone or the app, the web page display on your iPhone
It's different.
is different from your PC. On your PC, you can drill down and see when it started, but there's a deficiency there on the app on your iPhone. It'd be good to have it modified. Yeah, I'm sure y'all have the ability to give feedback.
Oh, feedback, we can certainly get feedback.
Give feedback. I understand you can't change it, but a request for a change that I think would be beneficial is to be able to drill down like you can on your PC.
You know, I'm thinking about technologically deficient people. Are there opportunities to train people how to sign up, use the app, use it on the computer?
We do all the time. They come in and we meet with them.
Okay, so they have to make an appointment or they have to like ask. Yeah, so there's not, like if we're out in the community and we're talking to people, like there's, because I remember that they used to have classes, or maybe they still do, and I don't know. Is, you know, gardening classes and learn how to plant a food garden and that kind of thing. So maybe at those, which is,
I did an
Probably.
online presentation
yeah.
about 10 months ago. It's been
Okay.
a while. Yeah, but you,
Maybe we have them yearly or something like that, so that I'm just concerned about,
We walk
People
them through
that-
it over the phone, they come in, we walk them through it in person, however we can get them.
because I know like with my mom, like I have to monitor it because she's not,
Understood.
like she's not.
Tell me that just, it needs to be held, that there's nothing
Yeah.
to get this to the end, and we're happy to do that.
All right, item 18, receive and act on the general manager's report.
Pretty light for us tonight. Just want to let you know, I attended the Texas Water Conservation Association Fall Conference a couple weeks ago. And then myself and Dave attended the AWWA Waterline Condition Assessment Training last week in Dallas. Wanted to update you on the retirement reception for Jim. It's going to be December 14th. Most likely something like a 5:30 to 7 come and go type of deal. It'll be here. Most likely it'll be here. We're assuming that the illness doesn't get too huge. Do have a couple staff anniversaries wanted to note. Jeannie, our own Jeannie has been here for 27 years. So
Wow.
pretty awesome tenure there. And then Wayne's been for 10. He's one of our ambassadors. And then the only other thing I had was to kick it over to John for the communications report.
What was Jim's event? Don't watch.
14.
14,
Yes.
thank you. I just,
Hey, John.
And we'll be sending out a official notice on the
On the
reception.
return, okay.
page 54 is your communications report. Right now, we're pushing out quite a wide spread of topics, and so I wanted to review some of the major ones with you, just so you're not sure, necessarily what everybody's always tracking. So if you get questions,
you did a great job on the water bill explanation. I mean, I've actually made copies of it and given it to complaining neighbors, so good job.
we'll have an even better tool up very soon on interpreting that bill, interpreting your bill, your website.
Great work.
Watch that.
It was great.
We're doing more with infrastructure renewal. We've been pushing that for a while, continue to do so. And you'll see that really ramp up when Holloway, well, they're in their assessment phase now. They'll deliver their strategic plan. Holloway being the infrastructure communications consultant, Jerry Secure. That plan will begin to implement in February. That'll take off then. We're doing a lot with billing right now. Of course, rate adjustments is a key topic. Hopefully you saw on the back of the water bill this current month, notification on adjustments. We're continuing to push those out in other ways as well. Hopefully you've seen the annual community survey. So we're in the middle of that process, a 2-week process right now. We do that annually. We did it last year. Doing it again, want to measure our impact through that. If you haven't taken it, you can find it on the website, watch for emails, social media platforms. All those places are advertising it. Right now, we've got about 750 responses. We'll close that up at the end of the week, and then I'll present the findings to you next time we meet. And of course, our standard seasonal topics like winter lawn care, shut off your sprinklers, breeze protection, and so forth. We added something to the website recently. It's a news section, right? So we have an active news feed that will also house service alerts. And then we have an archive component to that as well. And on page 56, you can see where we've been out in the community since we last met. Nothing's lined up for December, but we'll be out and about in January and on from then. Working with the township, working with LQs, and other partners to engage the community in person. And then the following 2 pages are examples of current marketing material. Any questions?
Looks good, John.
All right.
You're doing a great job.
So before you go, are y'all gonna give an update on the Spindle Tree Center Point issue?
So we've got surveyor scheduled for Monday. It appears just from my visits to the site, there is an overlapping easement of some sort of width with Centerpoint or Infantry, whoever the electrical provider is there. That may give the Black Oak developer access, a right to access that overhead power line, which he has done. But I can't tell you where the property line is, just assuming it's the fence line, the barbed wire fence line. All the overhead power seems to be on our side, the pond side. But they have tied into that pole, they run service to several poles in that area, and they have cut through the barbed wire fence and the tree line. So until we get the survey staked, I just can't speculate any further where our property is or where our 2 properties match up.
This is the French oak tree line they cut down, and they damaged that.
Black
property.
Oak,
Yeah.
Lakes Black Oak, and it borders the east side of our detention.
So what are they trying to do? They're trying, I know they have a problem with the
They
pole.
cleared some trees to
Right.
put in their power, their side.
On
They cleared some
their
trees
property.
Along that fence line.
Fence line.
And then they ran their power up to existing power poles that are on.
For those houses that they built.
And if
We're
there's,
just assuming the fence line is pretty.
It's accurate, right? There's some doubt.
Basically, what they did, they cleared something like 2 sections of 150 feet
Right.
of just tree line, just strip it bare. And so
Now,
the
we have a
question
question.
is,
Shows they have reserve back there, Reserve A restricted for landscaping, drainage.
The Hughes Corporation does.
Should be.
Right.
No,
Forget what it was.
BlackRock.
Which they do have back there. They do have some drainage, they have some underground pipes, some inlets in the back. They do have, obviously, they have power back there now. What kind of landscaping they have proposed, if any, but it is for that, according to their plan. Black Oak development.
it appeared they minimized the amount of, I guess it's north-south pathway that they cleared or that they dug ditches in, minimized it on their side of the fence and moved it on and did most of the work on our side.
All, my understanding is all their transformers, which there's a whole bank of transformers lined up, are gonna be in their front yard. Not in the back.
All their transformers for power is gonna be in the front of the house.
It's all gonna be underground.
Oh, it's gonna be, okay.
There's gonna be a nice big box about as big as Shelley's desk in everybody's front yard. Well, not every front yard.
Brian, how do you resolve a conflict of plats?
Well, right now, Mike is trying to get the plat for our property to see if it shows an overhead, shows an electricity easement that is currently being utilized for overhead, but could also be utilized for underground.
Okay.
So that's what we're waiting on, and we need to have the survey of the district boundary marked so that then when you look at the plat, you can see, okay, how far of a buffer do they have on our plat if an electricity easement was granted, which presumably there was if, well, we have to say.
yeah, usually there's like a 16-foot UE that's split on both sides of the property lines. That's fairly normal.
Right.
So that gives them the right to be on either side. And if they cut some trees down on either side within that utility easement in order to get their utilities tied
They have
in,
the right to do
they
it.
have the right to do that.
We need to find out what the facts are. That's
That's right.
right. That was the email
Mhm.
correspondence. Let's get to the source documents and get a survey on the ground. And then once we know what the facts are, then we can figure out what, if any, remedies does the district have.
That's right.
So Mike, you talked about the survey was gonna be expensive. Are you doing a full survey or are you just having them stake it out? So
Just
it's no,
that,
so
just the east side one.
the whole distance of it? And
Lay out that line, see where it is.
how expensive is that?
About 13,000.
Mhm. What's the estimate
It was asked.
from the survey? Wow.
Is that shared? No, it's our business
For our boundary.
benefit now.
All right, let's see.
If you didn't want to do that, I can cancel that. It hasn't happened yet. That's not what I thought. That's the direction we were going. So that's.
Yeah, we can't make any assertions about what our rights are and what other people have to do without having that nailed down. If y'all want to just.
You need the facts.
Well, we need to find
Unless you
out,
wanna
we
say,
need to get a hold of that plat
We're
first.
not going to pursue this any further. Then there's no, you don't necessarily have to get a survey if you're not going to potentially pursue something.
And my intent for bringing it up was make sure it's all out in the open and everybody knows.
So what are we gonna
Before
pursue
this.
after?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
so in theory, if there was, the property line was further over, and so this work that they're doing now is outside of the easement, then you can make some sort of demands on them if the board so chose.
Or we could take the position that we go well within inside of our boundaries and put it there.
Yeah, we can't control what the electricity company does. This is power infrastructure.
I mean, I had this happen to me once, and if they're outside the boundary, you have a right.
Correct.
And they were outside the boundary of my case, and I said, well, it's gonna be hard to walk to your transformer. You should move it, and they agreed. You know,
And that happens.
Yeah.
It happens.
That should raw land, you
But
know,
we don't know where the line is. That's what we need to find out.
Yeah.
So
that's right.
we can't, it's just,
Good.
You need the facts, bottom line.
All right, we're receiving and acting on it, so I need a motion to accept it?
No.
No? Okay, no action items, okay. Trustee report, it's on page 57. Do you have any additions to it, Dave?
You know, I guess there'll be a discussion in closed session. I think that's
Okay,
be something we need to listen.
All right.
And think about.
well, that's a good segue. Move on to item number 20.